Hi everyone, and welcome to Selective Preparation Power Thinking Skills Test 17. We have 10 questions to get through in this video. We have selected these questions from the paper and we will start now. First question, applying the impact of additional evidence. Let's read through this passage. One of the diplomatic tools available to government in order to act against another country is via a sanction. The sanction is imposed on a different country. Their imports and exports are restricted in order to make it harder for the economy to operate. Now, this is the main conclusion because it starts with the word therefore. We should place sanctions on all countries that are acting improperly in order to get their governments to reform, especially for countries with dictatorships. So the main conclusion is that these sanctions that they talk about should be placed on all countries to kind of punish them, right? Or punish the government for acting in a bad way. What would weaken this conclusion? The answer here is C. Sanctions often affect the citizens of a country more than their leaders, so they have an incorrect effect. First of all, we mentioned the word sanctions, which we are talking about. And second of all, we talk about the reason, right? The whole reason of a sanction is to get the government to reform. But C is saying it doesn't affect the leaders as much as it affects the citizens who are innocent in this case. So C is the best answer because it directly rebuts or goes against the reasoning that is provided in the passage. Number 2, use the discussion to answer the following questions. Okay, so John says, children should do chores because they must learn about responsibility and the hard work it takes to run a household. Chores also help children teach children essential life skills. Kim says, I disagree. Children should not have to do chores because they already have enough responsibility through school and homework. We shouldn't overburden children when they're beginning to learn about responsibility. It will only make them despise it. So the main thing that they have in common is the thing that they are disagreeing about, right? It's about how children should learn responsibility. So that John is saying we must do it through chores. Kim is saying they already learn responsibility through school and homework. So Kim is basically disagreeing with John in saying that chores are not the only way to learn about responsibility, and that's why C is the answer. Now, this is confusing because they also pose different arguments, right, about essential life skills and about how we shouldn't overburden children and so on. But you have to really tap in to what is the commonality between John and Kim. And here it is the responsibility learning through chores. Okay, 3, we are doing a comparison. So in our comparison, we always set up a table, okay? We have medicine A and medicine B. Now, the first one is the cost, right? Medicine A costs $3 per pack of 6, and medicine B costs $4 per pack of 9. We can simplify this to kind of make it even for us, right? So what about for 3 pieces? We divide it by 3 for B, so we get 4 over 3. Actually, it might be simpler to just times. Okay, we're going to do the other way. We're going to times. Make it a bit lower. So let's try to make it 18. Do you see how that's the common multiple? Times by 2, you get $8. Times by 3 here, you get $9. So straight away, you can see that medicine B is cheaper. Okay, that's why the answer is D. But let's check the how well it works. Medicine A is 23 out of 25. If you multiply top and bottom by 4, 23 times 4 is 92%, and medicine B is 92%. Right? So that's why how often it works is not a point of comparison because they're the same. So D is the answer here. Okay, next one. Which would weaken the conclusion? What is the conclusion? So we have that Brisbane has a high frequency busway system and other Australian cities should also build this type of transport as a good means of transit. So basically it's saying that this busway system, right, the high frequency busway system, should be used in other Australian cities too because it worked for Brisbane. What would weaken this? The answer is D. Many large Australian cities would benefit much more from a train or metro given the space used by a busway. This is really good, or the best weakening argument, because we talk about other Australian cities and why this busway system would not work for other Australian cities like the larger Australian cities. So there's many links with the key bits that we've highlighted. So that's why D is the best answer. Okay, number 5. So we have to identify an assumption. Let's get a highlighter again. The printing press was invented by Johannes Gutenberg, and it worked by the creation of type, and it increased the speed at which different books and texts could be printed. So Gutenberg was able to increase the amount of literary and academic information being spread around the world. So it's saying just because this printing press increased the speed, right, just because it increased the speed, amount of information was spread across the world. So what is the assumption? The assumption is B, right? That the spread of information before the printing press was mostly limited by the speed books could be copied. So it's saying that this increase of speed is the only thing that allowed the amount of information to be spread faster and quicker, which might not be the case, right? There might be other ways of spreading information, not just through books, and we have completely ignored those facts by using this link or this direct causation. Okay, so we're saying that this speed increase caused more information to be spread when it might be other stuff as well. Okay, number 6. So we have a bit of information in a box. A limited edition Oreo chocolate bar is only available for sale in Japan. Oreo chocolate bars, which are being sold by vendors in other countries, are fake. In addition, these chocolate bars cannot be taken overseas due to company legislation. So during a FaceTime call or video call between Jason and Michelle, Jason sees that Michelle is eating this limited edition Oreo chocolate bar. Jason concludes that Michelle must be in Japan, or the Oreo chocolate bar is a fake and Michelle is not in Japan. Is there anything wrong with Jason's reasoning? If so, why? Now, this is a bit of a trick question. They have tried to corner you by saying that this limited edition chocolate bar is only available in Japan and all the other ones outside are fake and you can't even take it overseas. However, the answer is D. Jason is wrong because this Oreo chocolate bar might be fake, right? And Michelle can still be in Japan. We know that anything outside of Japan, if anyone has this, it has to be a fake. However, we don't know about inside Japan if you just have an Oreo chocolate bar, if it is fake or not. Okay, so that's why D is the answer. Okay, number 7, we have 4 students going to a coffee shop. Cafe orders coffee, juice, tea, and each student only gets 1 drink. So we have V, X, Y, and Z. We know Vanessa gets a coffee. Okay, Xavier orders a different drink to Vanessa, so he must get juice or tea. We don't know which one. Yvonne orders a different drink to both Xavier and Vanessa. So again, we don't know which one, so we'll leave Yvonne for now. Zach orders a different drink to Yvonne and Xavier. So everyone is kind of linked here, so it's kind of hard to decide exactly what they have. But we know that Xavier's juice or tea. Zach has to order something different from Yvonne and Xavier. And Yvonne orders a different one from Xavier and Vanessa. So that means Yvonne can't be coffee. So she's also juice or tea. And Zach has to be different from juice or tea. So Zach must order coffee. Xavier and Yvonne, we don't know if they have juice or tea, whichever one it is. Okay, we do know for sure that 2 coffees were ordered. So that's why C is your answer here. Okay, 8. So we have another comparative one. Okay, so we have two brands. Again, we're going to set up our table. Brand A and brand B. So the first one is effectiveness, right? Brand A says 95% effectiveness and brand B says 99% effectiveness. Now, a student proposes if they wash with their hands with both. Alice says, if you wash your hands with both brands, your hands are guaranteed to be more clean than if you just washed it with brand B. Now, is this correct? It's not. Mainly because of this word guaranteed. You cannot guarantee that it'll be more clean. Plus, if you see the percentages, right, just because you add on a 95% onto a 99%, we don't know if that's on top of it or if that's just going to be 95% and then the brand B will just overtake it. We don't know the information about the brand A and B, about how they work combined. So Alice cannot say that it's true. Brian says if you wash your hands with both brands, then 97% of the germs will be left because it is the average. Now, Brian also is not correct. Again, we don't know any information about them used together. Okay, we only know them separately, so we cannot conclude that the average would therefore be the result of them being used together. So neither student is correct. Option D is your answer. Okay, number 9. So, alcohol is commonly consumed at present and has effects such as slowed reaction time, inhibiting decision making. And it says that in many accidents, it's when alcohol is consumed just before driving, the slow reaction time and bad decision making has been attributed as the main cause of the accidents. Therefore, we should ban the consumption of all alcohol in society. What is the flaw? Just because we have drivers who have consumed alcohol just before driving and have these traits, does that necessarily mean that all alcohol must be banned in society? No, okay, because alcohol may have other potentially good effects or other purposes than just being bad for driving. So we've basically used this one specific case to show that every other case should also be banned or is wrong. So the answer here is D. Okay, a specific case has been presented to prove a much bigger argument. We cannot say just because it happened for this one specific case, everything around it should be banned as well. And this last question, bus for Newcastle leaves every 30 minutes from a bus stand, and we are told a passenger that the bus has already left 10 minutes ago. The next bus will leave at 9:35. So the next bus is at 9:35. So the previous bus must be 30 minutes earlier, which is 9:05 a.m. The bus had left 10 minutes ago. So what time is it now? You can plus 10 minutes to this to find out. 9:15 a.m. must be the time right now. That way the last bus left 10 minutes ago, and that was 30 minutes from the next bus, which is 9:35. So what time did the inquiry clerk give this information? The answer is D. So the key point I want to drive home today is for the comparison questions. Okay, always set up a simple table, no matter how obvious the information looks to you. There may be hidden tricks that are in the question, or it may be useful to for checking your working out after you finish the test. So I just urge you guys to really visualize your information by writing it out, okay? Because that will definitely help you when you later on check your work or when you want to go back and have a look at doing the question again and so on. So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that video and I will see you in test 18.